Yo ho ho and a bottle of butterbeer.
Rum.
Oh, I thought we were doing the Harry Potter review.
No.
Hey Derek, now that I went and watched all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, why don't you tell us what we're going to be reviewing this week?
The Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
Oh, cool.
We're going to go through a rundown, our favorite to least favorite,
Of all three Pirates of the Caribbean movies,
three,
they definitely didn't make a fourth one.
Absolutely wonderful trilogy.
Yes.
There's really no losing when you're watching any of those three movies.
The three Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
So, I don't know. With that, do you just want to kind of jump in and see where we got?
All right.
So,
number one, my favorite Pirates of the Caribbean movie. This is a hot take. This is, I think, a little controversial. My favorite Pirates of the Caribbean movie is Dead Man's Chest. Not the original.
No.
Now, don't get me wrong, the original's great. The second one is better because it is so much fun. I mean, you have the Kraken, which is so scary. All the scenes with the Kraken they're just terrifying. You got that awesome three-way fight between Jack Sparrow, Norrington, and
Will Turner.
Will Turner, thank you, or Legolas. And the other three-way fight between Spintel and Ragetti. And Elizabeth Swann. You got that fight going on. You got the fish people. And
fish people.
They're awesome. The story's not as great as it was in the first one, but I don't care, because 2 is just so fun. You got the cannibal stuff. It's just beat for beat. It's so fun. It feels like a pirate adventure movie. Lots of hijinks, lots of pirating, and Davy Jones, man. Davy Jones is cool. Bill Nye. So all in all, it takes everything I love for the first movie, makes it more crazy, a lot of fun, gives Norrington more to do. I think he's a great character, and it has one of my favorite endings in any movie of all time. Spoilers: Barbossa's back.
So tell me, what's become of my ship?
And I just remember sitting in the theater, waiting for whoever that was coming down the stairs. I'm like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Oh my God, it's Barbossa! Oh, I gotta go see the third one. Wait, I gotta wait a couple of years for the third one? Are you kidding me?
1 year.
Oh, it killed me. That was the longest year ever. I have such fond memories of the second one, and every time I rewatched, I still love it. It's so fun. It's a great movie. I know it's a little controversial. I think it's better than the first one. I will admit the first one is a better story and just a better, probably, structure. But man, the second one is endless fun, and I never get tired of watching it.
Well, I mean, I respect his opinion on the second one. If you know Ryan, you know that none of that is surprising at all. In fact, one of Ryan's taglines is, "Man, I love a good sequel."
I do love a good sequel.
Freddy's dead.
Get out of here now, Tracy! Now!
Hey! You forgot the power glove! Ow!
Yeah, the best sequel of all time.
I want to take a more cliche opinion on Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm going to say that the first one is the best. My reasoning being is when you walk into that theater for the first time. I remember I was in 6th or 7th grade. I'm still pretty young. Young enough to think that a lot of this stuff was scary. You've got spooky skeleton pirates. You've got monsters. And you've got, this dark, grim, eerie music. And the trailer portrayed the movie kind of like horror, more suspense horror, not really an adventure flick. I just remember the pirates walking through the moonlight underneath the water, just towards the camera, and they're like, "Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl," the Curse of the Black Pearl. So they set you up for this horror movie, and my neighbor Kevin, him and his dad were like, "Hey Derek, you want to come to this movie with us?" And I'm like, "No, shit looks scary," but because I had to be tough guy, I'm like, yeah, let's go. And I was blown away. That movie was so fantastic. And now that was when I was younger. I have since watched that movie probably at least a dozen times. At least it's in my top 3 movies of all time with how much I like it as a standalone movie, even apart from the series. When I talk about Pirates of the Caribbean as a whole, I like to say that Disney, they prepped the first one, Curse of the Black Pearl, and they made it so that if it was unsuccessful, that could be a standalone movie. That just by itself could stand on its own for Disney Legacy, and there would be no cliffhangers, no nothing. That would be it. Of course, we know how the story ends, though. Pirates of the Caribbean was wildly successful, and it spawned 2 sequels.
Definitely only 2.
Definitely only 2 sequels. So it was completely constructed from beginning to end. The story had a beginning and an end. There are very clear lines drawn with everything. You meet Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann first. Very surprising, because a lot of people would say the main character of that movie is Jack Sparrow. I would make an argument that Elizabeth Swann is the main character of the first Pirates movie, which was interesting. It's a pirate movie. It's geared towards men, but Elizabeth Swann is the hero. I thought that was very interesting. But then they kind of shift gears on you. Will Turner and Jack Sparrow. Will Turner, like the lawful good, teaming up with the chaotic neutral Jack Sparrow in order to save the damsel in distress. None of these characters are the same person that they were at the beginning of this movie as they were at the end. They all go through a very complete arc, a very sensible arc. They all grow in ways that make you care about them. And it's masterfully done. Will Turner, like I said, lawful good, finds out his father is a pirate, can't come to terms with it, he has to overcome that and accept it, slowly begins to take on the roles of a pirate, and in the end realizes that you can be a pirate and a good man, which is something that Jack told him right in the middle of the movie. Elizabeth Swann was the governor's daughter, very sheltered, but always wanted to go out and have an adventure, ends up being very strong-willed, very sure of herself, becomes a leader, which obviously they continue that arc into the sequels. This movie is so fantastic. It's so good all on its own, and if they'd have left it at that, I'm happy that they did 2 and 3. That movie is just so complete. The symbolism is wonderful. They revisit every little thing. No details are forgotten about or overlooked or ignored, and the music, oh my gosh, it just makes you feel like you are on an adventure. And let's not forget Depp's performance as Jack Sparrow.
Captain Jack Sparrow.
There should be a captain in there somewhere. 10 out of 10. And I mean that. I would give that movie a perfect score. There's nothing that I would change about the first Pirates movie. My second place movie, and it's recently changed, actually, after watching the movies over again. Number 2. Dead Man's Chest used to be third for me of the 3 movies. I definitely thought it was not the strongest because the second movie was built to be a setup. Mm-hmm. That movie is leading to the climax that is at World's End. And that's fine. There's nothing super wrong with the movie, in my opinion. It's just like you can't have that big moment in that movie because it is the setup. You know, you are making it for the next movie. When I thought back, I realized that everything Ryan said is absolutely 100% correct. That movie is so much fun. You get reintroduced to the characters, they get put on a believable story path, and by the way, thank you writers for not making problems between Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann happen in between the films so you come in and you have immediate conflict. No! You come in on their fucking wedding day!
Yep.
Oh!
Ruin it
Immediately, in a sensible way, in a way that you're not really expecting because you hear a name. Beckett.
Yep.
And it's not a new name.
It's not?
They say Beckett in the first one.
Oh, really?
They say Beckett in the first one, and it's kind of like an offhanded remark that the governor makes at one point.
Oh.
They mention Beckett in the first one.
Wow.
So they introduce this new character. That's not new. He's in there. So careful. Verbinski, You should make all of these types of movies. You are amazing. You're my favorite. But yeah, introduced to a new villain. It makes sense. Oh, and by the way, Jack Sparrow, who's still in trouble, because you don't really learn about the origin of the Black Pearl. You don't know how he got it back. You know that somehow he got it back, and you know something happened to it. How did he get it back? Davy Jones. So now you've got Beckett, and you've got Davy Jones. You have now introduced 2 wildly different antagonist villains. More so than Barbossa was. Barbossa was just trying to lift a curse.
Yep.
And it made sense. It was a good story. Like, A to B, this is what we're trying to do. You know, this is amazing. Perfect setup. Kraken, terrifying.
Yep.
Character development, still there, but not in a way that's so vastly unbelievable or so different that they're just doing it to try to be different. It's like they completed the arc in the first movie, and now they're just continuing down. And the second movie is definitely a darker one, albeit a fun and adventurous one.
Yes.
Like, everything just takes a more serious turn. You are not bored, you're not disappointed, and at the end of that movie, you're like, I want to see the next one, and I will be seeing the next one.
Yes, absolutely. It's as good as a setup movie can be. Really.
I do think that Dead Man's Chest is the perfect sequel, and I would also give it a 10 out of 10.
I just want to, a point I forgot to address with my Dead Man's Chest. One moment. I mean, the character development's great. You have, like, Elizabeth locking up Jack to the bones. Jack coming back when he's rowing away.
And he goes, pirate.
Pirate, yes.
Oh.
The moment where Jack charges at the Kraken, Jack sacrifices himself, is so good. So good. I just wanted to remind everybody how good that was.
Well, because it's like, and for character development, Jack has always run away.
Yep.
He came back. He faced it. He dies. Which, I mean, again, if they would have left it at that, again, I wouldn't have been all too surprised. But you can't leave Jack Sparrow dead.
You need Jack Sparrow.
You can't. Like, I think that he was way more popular in the first movie than they thought he was going to be.
Yeah. Second place movie. First movie. And it's real close. Like I said, I love the second one.
We're splitting hairs.
We're splitting hairs. It's a game of inches here. The first, basically everything you said. It is so, all the characters are so well set up. And the conflict is great. You know, the action is phenomenal. The skeletons look really good. It's aged really well.
Oh my goodness, the CGI in all these movies.
It's aged as well. It's really surprisingly good. Barbossa is a fantastic villain. And you think he's just a regular villain at first, but you learn more about him, and he's actually pretty sympathetic. Like, yeah, he's a terrible human being, but like
they're all terrible human beings.
Pirates.
They're pirates.
But like they have like a goal you can understand. Like, and they weren't trying to kill Elizabeth at first. No. If they had gotten Will, they might have let him live. Honestly, they probably would have left him there. Honestly.
Yeah.
But like they weren't out to kill him. They just wanted to be uncursed. Barbossa's a good villain. And you have such good action.
What a complex villain, too.
Yep.
Just so many layers to him. Like, what do you think you'd be doing after killing me? And he's so theatrical.
Yeah.
And he knows it. And he wants to be theatrical.
He loves it. He's chewing that scenery. And I love it.
Jeffrey Rush is always the most powerful character on camera.
Yep. Including Jack Sparrow.
You put Jack Sparrow and Barbossa on the screen together, Barbossa was still the impeding, strong, like, sure of himself. You can see why a crew would follow Barbossa and betray Jack Sparrow or maroon Jack Sparrow, mutiny.
Yep.
You can see it. They even do it with his, by the way, symbolism. They make Barbossa's hat bigger and they shadow his face, where Jax is kind of like, I'm a pirate, I'm a pirate.
Jack's intro is another thing that's amazing, where you can sailing on the sinking boat. You know, all the characters in Pirates 1 are just so great. So great. And, I probably give both 2 and 1 perfect scores. I love both those movies so much. Like I said, we're splitting hairs, game of inches. I'm probably just picking 2 because I like to be different. My incessant need to be different. But honestly, you cannot go wrong with either one.
And actually, I want to point out one more thing. I know I said I would not change anything about the first movie, and I hold to that. But I am so glad that we did get to learn more about Norrington.
Yes.
In the second one, because you don't get to see him a whole lot in the first one, but I feel like that was very intentional. Like, you can't try and develop too many characters very well without 5-6 more scenes. Norrington would have not been able to be any more well developed. He would have been an underdeveloped character and like kind of a why are you here kind of thing. So I'm so glad that we got Norrington.
And his change in the second movie is so drastic.
But believable.
It's really great. He's got a great arc. I wish he'd gotten to be in more of the third movie.
I will say the Norrington jump between films is the one that they take a little bit of liberty with. That's the one. And I am okay with that. You do it with one character. You do it with a character that you don't know a whole lot about. Like one that the audience remembers but doesn't necessarily care about. They're just happy to see him back. Perfect character choice. You couldn't have done that with anyone else.
Nope.
Best original and first sequel film combo that I can think of.
Yeah, really, really great. All right, number 3 is number 3. To no surprise by anybody.
At World's End, and I believe that we agree on this.
Yes. So when I first saw Pirates 3, I loved it. Not so much anymore. It's still entertaining, but here's the thing. Pirates 3 should have been 2 movies. Like, they should have split it into 4 parts, not including the actual 4-part that doesn't exist.
Yes.
And then, yeah, discount on Stranger Tides. At World's End should have been 2 movies.
And I almost wonder, Mr. Verbinski, if you see this, please tell us.
Yeah.
Because it just makes too much sense. Were you planning 4 films? Were you planning 4 films and time, contracts, budget? Did something happen where you could only do 3 and you had to push these together? I want to know.
Yep.
It's too perfect. Continue.
The 3rd movie should have been rescuing Jack. Just getting Jack back. You bring these characters, doing that adventure, because that seems... They took care of that so fast. And then the 4th movie should have been the big conflict between Davy Jones and between Beckett, and the big pirate showdown and with the whirlpool and stuff. If you split those into 2 movies, holy crap, you get a perfect 4-movie series. But they combine too much together. There's too much new stuff going on, and it's really long. The whole 3rd movie just feels bloated. There's a lot of fun moments along the way, but there's a lot. It's a little confusing. There's so many different complex plots going on. Every character wants something different, which is good. But it could have been handled better had it been 2 movies, because there was a lot to take in.
Yes.
It definitely rewards repeated viewings. It's like, oh, I get it now. But there's so much being thrown at you. So I like the 3rd movie. I think it's got a great ending. The 3rd act is phenomenal. I think the whole fight in the whirlpool is fantastic. And
Maelstrom, yeah.
Will's got to get his heart carved out and become the Flying. That's awesome. That he's the new Flying Dutchman. It's got a fantastic ending, and it really wraps things up well. But getting to that point, there's definitely some bumps on the waves, on the sea. Some bumps on the seas, big waves. And if it had been split up, I feel like it could have been a better. But I will say it is really cool that we have Jack, we have Will, we got Elizabeth, we got Davy Jones, Barbossa, and Beckett. We have our 6 main characters. And each one of them wants something different.
Entirely different.
And each one of them is working to get what they want, and it conflicts with each other, and that's great. That's a lot of fun. Trying to figure out how they're doing and what they're doing. I just wish it had been a little bit better, and that we could have had a perfect quadrilogy.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I will say, when I first started watching these films for this particular purpose of the review, 3 was my second favorite, because I like how grandiose it is. Like I said, I like a perfect sequel, but I love what a perfect sequel leads up to if it's a great trilogy. Return of the King. After Ryan said this should have been 2 movies, seriously, it was like Inception. That seed was planted, and now I can't unsee it.
Sorry.
Seriously, just have the 3rd movie, what would be the 3rd movie, end with having Jack back. They finally rescued him from the locker, and they're trying to get back to the regular world, the world of the living, and he solves the riddle. And they tip the ship upside down. The sea comes crashing down, and they say, "We're back." And then one of them says, "Now what?" And then you have someone, Jack or Barbossa or something, looking on the horizon and saying, "We have some business to take care of." And then cut to Beckett and zoom in on something that he's doing that's really big, that's going to be this crazy plot for the 4th movie. This seed is there. I see it in my head, just the close-up of Beckett, because he's just got that menacing scowl, I am scheming all the time, and I am smarter than you.
Yep.
It's just good business. Even Jack could have said it, got some business to take care of. It's but the 3rd movie, give Jack some adventures in the locker.
Yep.
Give him some really weird, crazy characters, some other pirate lords who maybe been abandoned for dead.
Let them use the map more to solve these riddles.
Yes, do more with the charts. Do anything. Have more altercations between Beckett and Davy Jones, because you have 1 or 2 scenes where they're together, and Beckett's yeah, I control you.
Show them killing the Kraken.
Show them killing the Kraken, fighting the Kraken. Show Davy Jones having to kill his own pet. Show the emotional side, because you basically have to believe Tia Dalma when she says that you was a man once. You has a heart.
Oh, we could have even opened with a flashback to Davy Jones and Tia Dalma.
Yes. Anything.
Calypso.
And you don't even realize it. Just show the unsquiddy Davy Jones walking into a room, and you're like, huh, who's this dude? Just some dude, some pirate, some prologue story thing going on here. Walks into the room, Tia Dalma's in the bed, giving him his job, and he's like, I wish it didn't have to be this way, and she's like, this is the only way that we can be together forever. And then show him coming back 10 years later, and Tia Dalma not being there, and the sun setting and him needing to leave.
Yep.
There, you could just... It's so perfect. It's all right there. And it needed to be 2 movies. It needed to be. It absolutely 100% needed to be. And I'll never unsee it.
Sorry, man.
That being said, the movie still has great symbolism. The story arc still makes sense at the end. I do agree with Ryan that sometimes they take a few liberties in order to get to where they're going quick enough. And by the way, on top of this whole 2-movie thing, the movie is like 3 hours long.
Yep.
Like, you could have actually just cut that movie in half and still watched Beauty and the Beast 2 times. Like, this is a long movie already, and they still had to rush it. This should have been 2 2-hour and 20-minute movies, and you could have done so much more.
Yep.
But symbolism, I like to point out, like, the journey of the sword. Will Turner makes a sword for Norrington in the first movie, and that sword goes full circle and ends up in the hands of Davy Jones, who then uses it to stab him, and then he ends up with his own sword at the end as captain of the Flying Dutchman. In one part in the movie, they try to shoot each other with pistols, but the powder is wet. And then one of them pirates is like, wait, you can still use them like clubs and whack each other over the head. Later in the movie, Jack Sparrow takes a pistol, my pistol, hits a pirate in the head with it. Like, they don't leave any of it alone. It all comes back. And I think it's something that definitely makes the movie rewatchable. It's what makes me appreciate it. It's why it was my second favorite for a long time.
Until I came along and reviewed.
I still give the movie a solid 8.5 out of 10 because I do enjoy it. On a good day, maybe 9 out of 10, but I'll never unsee how bloated the film is.
7 out of 10 for me.
So, but I still like it. It rounds out the series well. The third act is a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, third act is excellent.
The only thing they could have done better is, again, make the battle a little bit longer and show the other pirates getting involved rather than a one-on-one, two-on-one sort of deal. So
yeah, you could have had all these other fights happening. You don't have to show it. Like, really, it doesn't really matter because we don't care about it.
Just have them sail in, you know? And then...
Just have them in the background fighting, and then you can go into the whirlpool and then you don't have to show it anymore.
Yeah, because, I mean, you don't... Yeah, you want focus. The other pirate lords really don't matter all that much.
We don't care about them, but just to have them doing something would be kind of nice.
Yeah, so...
But I will say, that before I forget the opener, they say everybody's getting hung and they sing that song. Haunting.
Oh, great opening.
Yep. That really established Beckett as a great villain.
Mm-hmm.
I like Beckett a lot.
I think the third one has the strongest opening of the 3.
Alright, I guess we're done?
Yeah, we're done.
Definitely done.
Oh, wait! Disney likes cash cows.
Ugh.
And...
Guess we have to go Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides.
Sure.
They are making a 5th one, so we have to watch now the 4th one has to count. If the 5th one was happening...
I hope it's all a dream. Except I'm pretty sure I saw in the trailer that Barbossa has only 1 leg, so it definitely happened.
Dirk, what did you think about Pirates of the Caribbean 4?
That movie sucks. That movie sucks. The first time I saw it, I was so starry-eyed that we had more pirates because you thought it was over. 2007, I think the last movie came out. 2008, one of the two, and you thought it was done. And then all of a sudden, in 2010, you know, you get the screen, you know, black, and then you have Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, and then you see the reflection in the dark water. You know, just goosebumps. So just like high school me is just like, yes.
And then you hear the news that Blackbeard's gonna be the villain.
Yep.
Famous pirate Blackbeard. That's awesome.
Yep. And the first time I went to it, I came out of it and I'm like, that wasn't as good as the other 3, but they had very little to work with. I was trying to like be understanding and empathetic to Disney's inability to get a lot of the cast to return. Working with the cast crutches because Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley said that they would not be coming back because they felt that their character storylines had ended. Again, all of these reasonable things. That being said, if it's not going to work, don't make it work. Don't try and stick a circular peg into a square hole.
Yep.
Don't do it. This movie was destined for failure from the beginning.
Yep.
And that's just on character merit, because like if you were to go in and make this movie a standalone movie, yeah, you might have been able to do it. You would have had to, you know, reintroduce Jack. You'd have to reintroduce Barbossa a little bit. You'd have to do something. But like this could have been the first of a movie series. It wouldn't have been very good, but it could have passed. But no, we have a history with 24 characters that we love, and you actually ignore 20 of them. They bring 4 returning characters back in the whole 5. I always forget about the 5th one.
Who?
They bring back Jack Sparrow, Hector Barbossa, Josh McGibbs, Captain Teague, and then the first mate from the first movie.
Oh.
Norrington's like first mate. I can't think of his name.
Groves.
Groves.
And I guess, there's another one there. It's Gillette. He's there too.
Oh, that's the one I was thinking of, Gillette.
They're both there. They're both in the first movie. But,
So-
who gives a shit about that?
So fantastic. We have 6 characters, 2 of which we don't give a shit about. So there are 4 characters, one that we barely know, Captain Teague. And
He's in 2 scenes.
you don't learn anything more about him.
So 3 characters we care
So
about.
3 characters we care about. Jack, Gibbs, and
Barbossa.
Barbossa. So, cool. 3 of the fan favorites. You can still make a movie with 3, right? No, this isn't a TV show. You can't have one episode revolving around 3 main characters and just forget about the rest and not even address them. And they do address them with just a crappy ride around.
They're all trapped in a snow globe.
Or dead.
A bottle. They're,
Or dead, or something.
yeah,
Or-
the Black Pearl's stuck in a bottle.
Which, sure, cool. That can be a great plot point if the crew has to work together to get it back. And, what if they're on, a different ship, and they're, trying to get this to work, but we can't. On the Pearl, it would have worked.
What if we had a subplot in the movie, in Pirates 4, of the crew on the ship trying to get out of the bottle?
Even that!
That would have been better!
Even that, can you just imagine the Black Pearls running into the cork?
Or what if we opened with that scene where Barbossa loses his leg? That would be a great introduction for a villain. That's how we should have met Blackbeard. He fucking destroys the Black Pearl, captures the entire crew in the ship, locks them in a bottle, and takes Barbossa's leg. That's a great opening.
Well, Barbossa takes his own leg.
Oh, takes his own.
So what you do is you show Barbossa stumbling into a longboat as he watches his pearl. Just like Jack has had to watch the pearl get taken from him so many times now, Barbossa has to watch the pearl uncontrollably sailing away from him. Finally.
Yep.
Perfect. You have picked up right where the 3rd movie, and would be in the ideal world, the 4th movie. 5th movie picks up right where this would leave off.
Yep.
Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. Maybe Barbossa doesn't even know who the villain is.
Yeah. Or make Barbossa the main character.
Do anything but what you did.
Yep.
So, okay, now we've talked about, the what-ifs and has and hows.
Yep.
There is so much this movie could have done, I don't even want to talk about it. What this movie did do was so bad. I told Ryan last night when we were watching it.
Because I'd only seen it the one time in theaters.
Oh, should have left it that way. That was 6 years ago, man.
Yep.
This movie watches like a really crappy pirate-themed Indiana Jones movie.
Yep.
It's got 6 MacGuffins, and it's all about, let's just move to this point. Oh, that's done. Let's move to this point.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's done.
It's a bunch of set pieces.
It's a bunch of set pieces.
And most of them aren't very good.
Oh, we need a mermaid. Oh, we need chalices. Oh, we need the map.
Yep.
Oh, we need the Fountain of Youth. Which, by the way, was really stupid because at the end of the 3rd one, they're like, oh, there's more than one way to live forever, mate. And they show the Fountain of Youth. Aqua de Vida.
Yep.
Stupid. They left that at the end of the 3rd movie to be like, look, there are still adventures to be had, but this was their grandest. Because you're always telling a story about the grandest adventure. That's what you need. This was... I bet this was written in at the last second just because. They're like, we need a fun way to round this out to show that the adventure is not over and our characters live on. Hey, Fountain of Youth, that seems like something that Jack would go after.
Yep.
Throw that in there. Nope, everyone's after the Fountain of fucking Youth now. I was so mad. Even as when I went in the first time, I'm like, no, this is bad. All the characters that they introduce, I care about 2 of them. One of them has exactly 3 lines in the whole film, and they all come in the same scene. It's the Spanish leader.
Yeah.
He's got this dark, brooding sense of obligation and duty and faith, which, by the way, is a recurring theme in the film that I think was very poorly executed. Yep. They definitely could have done more with it because Jack's coming into the light never really happens at all. He just kind of backwardly says I favor the mercenaries' position, which was a good joke.
Missionaries' position, not the mercenaries.
Sorry, missionaries' position.
Mercenaries' position. That's a new one.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Someone will have to invent that. I don't care about any of the characters.
The missionary, though.
The missionary is good. They didn't give him enough to do. Well, no, he did enough. He didn't say enough. You don't really learn anything about him, and also he doesn't really undergo much of a character arc.
But he's so different from any other character we've had before that he's interesting.
So he's interesting, and he's around, and he does do things, but he has half a dozen lines.
Yep.
It doesn't talk. Oh, his love interest, the mermaid. Again, I might be I would like to know more.
Yep.
I could like a mermaid character, except all we know is that for some reason she's different from the other mermaids we think.
We think.
We're not sure.
Either she's different or she just... Maybe all of them could sense he was different. She just happened to be closest.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So,
we don't know.
We don't know. Well, and who knows? We may never. So that was confusing. Blackbeard was just made into seriously a cookie cutter villain. Nothing special. No introduction.
He wasn't
And
even that intimidating.
No, and he just got this. His sword was his intimidating thing.
Yeah. Oh, great! You can control boats with your sword.
You want to go toe to toe with me? Off your ship, I do. That's a line from the movie.
Yeah.
Like, he's not scary. Oh, the quartermaster. He looks kind of like a zombie and can make voodoo dolls. Sure, make voodoo dolls a part of a movie, but
He didn't use it enough.
they didn't do anything enough. They had so many different, like, cool mermaids. I like it. Cool Blackbeard. I like it.
They didn't do anything with them though. They had them there. They were just there. Fountain of Youth, just there.
Which, again, shouldn't have even been in this movie. I don't agree with having Fountain of Youth be the goal at all. If anything, like, with the fall of Beckett and the fall of Davy Jones, maybe the ocean is looking for a new king of the sea. Like, you know, a new person to rule these waters.
I think that's the plot of the 5th movie.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
See? Look at this! I'm sitting in an office, and I came up with a better idea for a Pirates movie. Penelope Cruz, don't care about her.
Nope.
And what a crappy love story. Like, I've always loved you. No, Jack, you love the sea. You've always loved the sea. There is not one woman, like, and if there is one, show her. Show her. Don't just be like, oh yes, we had this 10 years ago. This is the thing.
Yeah, show us, don't tell us. Do a flashback. I don't...
So many opportunities. This movie was so bad. It was a waste of money. It was a waste of Jeffrey Rush and Johnny Depp's talent. Gibbs didn't get to do anything. There's a line in the movie where Gibbs burns the charts and goes, I had just enough time to study these charts. When really, so he's saying, I had just enough time to study these charts and memorize everything. What he's actually saying, in context of the story, is, I had just enough time to study these charts that have been around for a millennium that no one has ever been able to solve, do anything with, but I did after one night in prison.
Yep.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You did not. Oh, well, welcome aboard there, Joshua Gibbs. We better bring you on the voyage now because you're the only one who knows where Ye Fountain of Youth is.
It was just an excuse to have Gibbs in the movie.
It was an excuse.
Which is fine, but he didn't get enough to do in the movie.
No. 1.5.
Out of 10?
Out of 10, what would that be, 3?
Yeah.
I'll give it 3 out of 10 stars on the sole merit that if it hadn't been a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, if you take that exact story and replace all the characters, like, I mean, give them different names, different actors and actresses, I would have maybe thought this was an average movie. I would have maybe given it a 5.5, but they put the Pirates brand on it, and that makes it worse because that sets the bar.
And you're tarnishing the brand.
There were funny moments. There were good moments. I liked a lot of Jack's moments. Sorry, one more thing I hated about what they did with Jack's character. They removed some of that mystery. Because it used to be like, what's Jack thinking? We don't know. We'll find out.
Yep.
They'll show us somehow. Now it's like, oh, I just improvise everything and get lucky. And the wacky things he does in this movie, way more wacky than anything he's done in the other movies. And
none of this should work. None of it should work.
Like, I'm just going to scoot up a palm tree with ropes tied around me.
And then I'm going to swing a coconut at people and I'm going to escape. I'm going to tie them all to a tree. Hey, no, you're not.
They're all wrapped around the tree now. Great.
The thing is, the pirate song, that epic, like, adventure music, they kept putting it in. I'm like, it shouldn't be here. This isn't good enough for this song.
No, because before you needed Turner, Sparrow, and Norrington fighting.
On a wheel.
Or you needed Jack, like, in the middle of the maelstrom, swinging around the rope on the mast and just, like, fighting Davy Jones one-on-one.
Yep.
Like, the king of the sea, like, master of waters.
Yep.
And now it's, like, attacking 6 random Spaniards. Dun, 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 dun,
Not good enough. Tarnishing the brand.
Yeah, next thing you know, it's going to be, like, Jack Sparrow drinking a bottle of rum. Actually, I would have liked that more.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Because he'd be drinking a bottle of rum in the middle of battle, like, while he's fighting the King of the Sea.
Yep.
He'd be like, the rum is not always gone. The 4th one should not exist. Disney, you done fucked up. What a waste. It's good to hear that a lot of people are very, very excited and hopeful about the 5th one. It does actually make me excited. I will go to it, and I probably will like it because of how skeptical I will be.
Yep.
You did this to me, Disney. You did this. On Stranger Tides was a goddamn mistake. And you should feel badly about yourselves. I hope that $600 million was worth it.
It probably was. 3 out of 10. Same score. Here's what I liked about the movie. Johnny Depp and Jeffrey Rush are great when they're on screen together. They have great chemistry. Okay?
Could have been better.
Could have been better, but they were not the problem. Everything else, okay? I like the missionary's character. I thought he was interesting. Okay, we established that. One other thing I liked in this movie, I thought the action scene while they were catching the mermaid was kind of fun. You know, they're punching through the boat and just tearing it apart. I thought it was interesting. I wish we cared about the characters more. Like, oh, they're all in trouble. But I thought the scene itself was fun and well done. And kind of, you know, like, whoa, shit, these mermaids, they're tough. And that's all I liked. The rest of the movie's trash.
And then the mermaids disappear and you never see them again.
Yep, not important. There's nothing else I liked. This was just like a frustrating movie to watch. Like, I just wanted it to be over. I watched Final Destination 4 earlier that day, and I liked that one better. If any of you have seen Final Destination 4, you know how bad it is. And it's a better movie than Pirates of the Caribbean 4. Yeah. It's just not good. It's not good. So many ways to make it better. So many. And they just failed on almost every level. I don't want to even, like, Derek pretty much summed up everything I wanted to say, and I don't want to give this movie much more out of my life. But yeah, this movie sucked, and, like, it shouldn't exist.
Alright, well,
That was our Pirates of the Caribbean review.
done with this. I'll wash my hands of this weirdness.